everyone, I'm Dr. Kara Wada, board-certified allergy immunology physician and Sjogren's patient myself. I've dedicated my career to helping people navigate the complex world of immune system disorders, and I deeply understand the journey both personally and professionally. Today, we're doing something really exciting. I am collaborating with the American Association of Immunologists on their fantastic new initiative, Immunology Explained, to help break down the science behind our immune systems. Have you ever just looked in the mirror and asked your body, why? Why are you doing this? If you're living with Sjogren's, you know that feeling of both confusion and a little bit of betrayal. You're not just tired, you're not just dry. Your immune system feels like it's a bit at war with itself. Today, we're going to peek under the hood and we're going to explore the immunology of Sjogren's, the science of what's happening inside your body. Because understanding the why is the first and most powerful step to becoming truly immune confident. So Sjogren's 101, the case of mistaken identity. I'm recording this, interestingly, while my kids are watching a detective show, so had to get into that a little bit more than usual. But I want you to imagine that your immune system is similar to a highly trained security team. Its job is to protect your body from outside invaders like viruses, bacteria, venoms, like if you got a snake bite, right? Most of us aren't around snakes very much anymore, but that's another aspect to how our immune system works. And in Sjogren's disease, the security team makes a fundamental mistake. It starts attacking our own body's healthy tissue when our own tissue really isn't the enemy. And this is what we often will call auto or self-immunity. The body's defense system has gotten confused and treats its own cells and parts and pieces, proteins, other parts of our being as if they were dangerous intruders. The primary targets in this case of mistaken identity, and in the case of Sjogren's, often are our exocrine glands, EXOCRINE, rather than endocrine glands, right? Exocrine glands. These are glands that typically produce moisture, like our salivary glands in our mouth, the lacrimal glands in our eyes. We think of them as the faucets that keep our mouth and our eyes moist and comfortable. And when the immune system attacks these glands, it's as if someone is clogging the pipes and causing everything to dry up. That's one of the core reasons for the hallmark dry mouth and dry eyes that are often seen with Sjogren's disease. But let's do a little bit of a deeper dive and meet the real players that are behind the scenes and are causing a bit more of the problem. So who are the members of our security team that have gone rogue? First, we have the B cells. These are what I like to think of as antibody factories. In a healthy immune system, B cells are amazing. They create antibodies, which are highly specific wanted posters that help the body recognize and remember what different germs look like. In the case of Sjogren's, some of these B cells start making autoantibodies. So they're making protein that recognizes ourselves as a being in that wanted poster. You've probably seen them on your lab reports. This is what we're checking for when we test for the anti-SSA or anti-Rho antibody and the anti-SSB or anti-La antibody. These are the classic mistaken wanted posters of Sjogren's, targeting proteins within our own cells instead of real threats. Now, only 60 to 70% of patients with Sjogren's will have these antibodies positive. So I think that's something really important to know. We also see problems with T cells. These are master coordinators. They're like the generals of the immune system. They're giving orders, they're helping coordinate the attack. And in Sjogren's, certain types of T cells become overreactive or overactive. Specifically, cells called Th1 and Th17 cells are a bit like overzealous generals, constantly shouting, attack, and fueling the cycle of inflammation. They release chemical signals that call in even more immune system troops to the area. So, what's going on? The glandular battlefield, the infiltration. Now, these overactive B cells and T cells just don't float around aimlessly. They gather and invade our moisture-producing exocrine glands, and this process is called lymphocytic infiltration. Imagine a crowd of security guards piling into a tiny room, making it impossible for that room to function. The cellular crowding is what causes the direct inflammation and physical damage to the glands, making them less and less able to produce saliva and tears. So we've talked about the battlefield, but how does this extend to body-wide impact, and why is Sjogren systemic? So if the main battle is happening in the glands, why do so many of us experience profound fatigue, widespread pain, brain fog, all of these things? Well, one of the main answers are cytokines. You want to think of cytokines as inflammatory text messages or smoke signals sent out from that glandular battlefield. These chemical messengers, and important ones in Sjogren's, include interferons, TNF-alpha, and interleukin, or IL-6. They travel throughout our entire body and they spread the alarm far and wide. And when these signals are constantly active, the whole building goes on high alert, causing these systemic symptoms. So fatigue, that bone-deep exhaustion, it's your body spending enormous amounts of energy also dealing with this constant low-grade systemic inflammation. Joint pain, those same, and whole body pain, those same inflammatory cytokines can cause pain and stiffness that so many of us know all too well. I also want to talk a little bit about the role of the nervous system. So Sjogren's and the nervous system often go hand in hand. That frustrating brain fog, it's not just in your head. Sjogren's can also directly affect our nervous system in a number of ways. It can cause peripheral neuropathies, can affect the nerves in our hands, our feet, face, can lead to something called sensory ganglionopathy. It's a strange asymmetric numbness that can occur, and it often can cause something called small fiber neuropathy, which can present as painful burning or tingling. It also can be a cause of something called dysautonomia, which we'll talk a little bit more about in a second. Often, small fiber neuropathy is going to require either a skin biopsy or something called a QSART test to diagnose. Sjogren's also can affect our central nervous system, our brain, and our spinal cord. This can lead to some cognitive dysfunction like brain fog, but also mood disorders, headaches, and in some cases, it can mimic conditions like multiple sclerosis or MS. And here's something that's really important and often gets missed, and something you won't always find in the textbooks. These neurologic complications are far more common than often are reported. And why? It's because conditions like small fiber neuropathy are really difficult to diagnose. Symptoms like brain fog, headaches, and dysautonomia, which is when your automatic nervous system is going haywire, can encompass things like POTS, difficulty sweating, changes in pupil size, problems with motility of our gut. These often aren't necessarily counted when researchers tally up neurologic involvement. It's a huge gap in our understanding and a source of a lot of frustration for many patients. So I want to share a little bit of my perspective from two sides of the stethoscope. Understanding the immunology of my own Sjogren's was definitely a turning point for me. It helped me realize that my symptoms weren't random or weakness, were all in my head. They were the logical, biological outcome of specific immune system processes. And that knowledge was the first step in shifting from feeling like a victim of my body to becoming an active and empowered partner in my own care. As a physician, this deep understanding is why I am a relentless detective for my patients. It's why I look beyond just the dryness. I ask about the fatigue, the pain, the brain fog, because I know that these are not separate issues. They're all interconnected and all related to the same underlying immune system dysregulation, things being off kilter. So to recap, overactive B cells make misguided antibodies. Rogue T cells coordinate the attack on our glands, and inflammatory cytokines spread the message of inflammation throughout our bodies. That, in a nutshell, is the immunology of Sjogren's as we know it today. This knowledge isn't meant to be scary. It's meant to be empowering, because when you understand the why behind your symptoms, you can ask better questions. You can have more productive conversations with your doctors and become a more effective advocate for your own health. That's why I am so excited to be partnering with the American Association of Immunologists to help make this kind of information more accessible to everyone. Their new Immunology Explained initiative is a fantastic resource to help people understand the immune system and its role in our health. I'll be sure to include a link to their new website and social channels in the description below, so you can go ahead, check them out, make sure to follow along. If you are listening and looking for personalized, in-depth care from a physician who gets it, you can discover the new patient packages at the Immune Confident Institute. And for daily support and to connect with others who understand, please join our free Success with Sjogren's Sisterhood on Facebook. It's not just for women. Sisterhood is just the vibe. You can find the links for both in the description below. And as always, don't forget to subscribe and survive and hit the bell to be notified for future episodes. Let's talk about your journey. What part of the Sjogren's puzzle has been most confusing for you? Did you learn a bit more about the immunology behind it to help connect some of the dots? Let's talk about it in the comments below.